end of the day, it was you two in that room and only one of you came out. And that's you. You left because you were scared, because you just accidentally hit my friend in the head. I know you're scared, and I know you're sorry, but I need to hear it from you.
Meet 18-year-old David Anselmo. Right now, this teenager has just realized that murdering one of his best friends comes with a life behind bars.
You know, somebody who takes a gun and shoots somebody to purposely end somebody's life is a monster.
But there is much, much more to David's story that is yet to be uncovered, because behind the murder of Troy Wilcox is a long and tragic series of events, ones that were triggered by this stupid 18-year-old.
And the only thing to do when your best friend is dead is to tell the truth, that he didn't do this to himself. So I need you to look deep into your heart and give Troy's family the truth. Everything's pointing to you, David. And you sitting here and denying it is making me think that maybe you don't care.
On June 7, 2019, officers with the Wausau Police Department received a frantic 911 call from an elderly woman. According to her, she had gone to check on her grandson at his duplex and found him sitting upright in his bedroom, completely unresponsive. At first, she tried to wake him, but very quickly came to a horrifying conclusion. Her grandson, 19-year-old Troy Wilcox, had been shot in the head, and by the time any kind of first responders arrived, it was clear that Troy had been dead for several hours. Inside the bedroom, investigators observed details that immediately raised questions. Troy was seated upright on his bed with a handgun placed nearby. So was this self-inflicted, or someone who had set up the crime scene? Detectives began reconstructing the previous night. Family members and witnesses confirmed that Troy had been drinking with friends. As the timeline narrowed, one name surfaced repeatedly: 19-year-old David Anselmo, the last person known to be alone with Troy in the early morning hours. David was still in the area when officers responded. He told them Troy had been alive when he left and suggested that Troy may have hurt himself sometime afterward. But investigators didn't buy it and brought David in for questioning, suspecting that there was much more to the story than he was letting on.
And just so we're clear, you understand that you're under arrest right now, right? The door is shut for privacy only. Yes, we brought you down here, but if you'd like a ride home at any time, you just have to say the word. Okay?
Okay.
We're just trying to get to the truth of the matter, obviously for Troy and Troy's family's sake. So it's very important to us, and we take our job seriously. So I appreciate your cooperation and coming down here and doing everything that you've done so far. I know it's kind of an inconvenience, but it goes a long way. So we appreciate that, certainly. So let's talk a little bit more. Let's just for the sake of argument say that you fibbed before about any one of these details. And I told you before that this was the last time we would have a conversation where you would be allowed to change anything you wanted to say or anything like that, but let's make that now. Let's have a redo now. So I just want to go over some of the details again. And I know it's probably really redundant and annoying, but it's important, like I said.
Yeah.
I'm sure Troy would do the same for you if something happened to him. You know what I mean? So how old is Troy?
Troy turned 19.
Okay, so you're just a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
Because you turn 19 in a couple days here, right? Okay. So what was the reason for the party last night?
He texted me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." And then he's like, "Oh," he said that he was buying shot glasses, like a party cup. I'm like, "Oh, true." Well, like he was thinking about quitting drinking because he wanted to at least not like try to take carbs in. And I'm like, "So are you gonna drink more or no?" And he's like, "Well, I actually do, because I'm like thirsty for beer." So I'm like, "Okay, well, before you like stop actually like not drinking, you might as well let it be less than us drinking, So then after that, like I was gonna support him and stuff, and we just ended up drinking. And when I got there, Kaden was there, and then after that, we were just waiting for Tyler.
So Caden's last name again is?
Hiller.
It's Hiller. Okay. What did you do yesterday before you went there?
Yesterday, I was just hanging out at the house, watching my nieces and nephew until like my sister got home.
What time was that?
My little sister ended up getting home like 6
p.m.?
Yeah.
And then what?
And then I was at the house, and then I ended up finding a ride to his house, and then.
From who again?
Jennifer.
Okay. Okay. So you contacted her via text or Facebook Messenger or something and got
Yeah,
hold of her?
Messenger. I texted her like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, nothing. So I'm like, oh, I need a ride. She's like, where to? Detroit.
Did she live near you or?
No, I'm not sure. But like whenever she said that she was on her way, she said that she'll be like there by like 15 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm guessing like they're either already driving because they had fishing posts. She was with her boyfriend. We were gonna go fishing. So I'm guessing they're like driving around or something.
Okay. Did you have to give her anything for the ride or?
No.
Okay. So when you talk to Troy, do you talk to him via text message or Facebook Messenger? Or what do you use?
Messenger.
Messenger. Okay. What's his Facebook name under?
Troy. I'm not sure because like it could either be like he has it as T-E-E or just Troy.
So tell me about like what's going on when you're all drinking together. What's the topic of conversation or?
Topic was just like like any regular other conversation, conversation there and then conversation over here, back and forth conversation over here and then conversation over there, different types of conversations.
We'll save you the trouble from having to listen to the bloat-filled conversation David has with detectives as he meanders between meeting up with his friends to party and unrelated tangents. But essentially, this is the gist of it all. David had known Troy for nearly 3 years, and the two were close enough to regularly drink and party together on weekends. On the night Troy was shot, Troy invited David over through Facebook to drink with him and a few friends. Around 10 p.m., David arrived and joined Troy in his bedroom along with Ricky, Tyler, and Caden, names that are very important to this story. The group started the night casually, joking and drinking beer like they normally would. At some point, Troy retrieved a semi-automatic handgun from his closet, and this is where David's story becomes muddled. The firearm was passed around among members of the group, including David and Troy, as they played with the magazine and a live round in the chamber. So how exactly, during all of this, did it get discharged? Was David the one responsible for it? And if so, was it really simply an accident? This is exactly what detectives have to figure out, as we pick from that line of questioning.
Specifically, what's going on with the gun? He pulls it out. Does it have the clip in it when he takes it out of the closet?
Yeah, that's what I seen, and then taking out the clip, like without the clip, he would load it, like if there was the clip in there, just what is it called?
Rack in the slide.
Yeah.
So, who takes the clip out?
He did, and then he was just doing that, passing it around, looking at it and stuff, pointing at it, everything else, and then after that it was just random stuff, because we ended up drinking more and stuff.
So define random stuff. What do you mean by that? Like to do with the gun?
Yeah, random stuff.
Like it's being just passed around.
Yeah.
Is there ever any talk of like firing it or going outside or doing anything with it or?
Yeah. They're thinking about going down to that one train bridge. We go shoot it over there.
Okay.
And then when we were outside smoking cigarettes, they were just putting it up in the sky let's just shoot her now. No, don't do that. Everybody's gonna end up coming around and stuff.
Did anybody shoot it?
No.
No. You're just talking about it.
Yeah.
But you had it outside with you when you were smoking cigarettes.
I didn't have it outside, but
who did?
They had it outside with us.
Okay.
What's the sweat code for your phones?
Huh?
What's the sweat code for your phone?
So,
Back
I
way
went,
out.
I went dealing with halfway. I went all the way.
Oh, okay.
See.
Okay.
Half no. Thank you, sir.
yeah.
So who had it outside with them?
Troy had it.
Where was he holding it or carrying it?
He had it, and we were just smoking it, and he ended up standing. We were all standing, and he had it on in his hand, and he just had it out, And Ricky was telling him dude, put that shit away, nigga. He's like, why? You scared? I'm nah, just put it away. And then he ended up clocking it back, and there was a bullet in the chamber. And then we all say dude, unload it. Take out the clip and unload it. And
How did you know there was a bullet in the chamber?
because he ended up loading it with the clip inside. And freaking what's it call that? we told him to take it out, so then he did, you know, and Kaden was like out with the shirt, you know, like holding and stuff. And then I think it was Ricky that ended up like grabbing it with his other, like grabbing the bullet. That like he ended up popping out.
So I see you like demonstrating by putting your hand in your shirt. Is that how they were handling it, like with their shirt?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what Troy did too?
Not the gun, the bullet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know. They just said like you know, like don't touch the bullet, you know. So I was like, okay.
Do you know why?
It's not about like not leaving your fingerprints on it. So like that makes sense.
Do you know if the gun was hot?
No. Not to my knowledge.
I guess why I'm asking is because, you know, obviously most of the time people don't handle a gun by, or even a bullet by putting it in their shirt, so I guess I'm just trying to understand why.
Yeah.
I was thinking. But you don't know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
But is that how everybody kind of handled it when it was being passed around? Were people touching with their bare hands, or were they using like
The gun, bare hands, but the bullet was just
Not
like,
the
you know,
bullet.
yeah, not the bullet.
Okay.
And where was the magazine as this was going on?
Huh?
Where was the magazine itself when this was going on?
We were outside, like close to like the corner of the back house.
Okay.
And we were just there, and I think after Troy taking out the bullet, I think Ricky had the magazine, and then after that, he ended up giving the clip back to Troy, and then that's when Ricky ended up reaching for the bullet, that one bullet that Kaden had.
Okay.
According to David, after the handgun was brought outside, the magazine was removed and Troy racked the slide, ejecting a live round from the chamber. This is a critical detail, because in semi-automatic pistols, removing the magazine does not clear a chambered round. A gun can still fire with a live round in the chamber, even if the magazine is out. Once the round was ejected, David describes Ricky and possibly Kaden handling the loose bullet and the magazine, even using their shirts while touching it. Eventually, the magazine was handed back to Troy, who already had possession of the gun. At this point in David's telling, the firearm ends up back in Troy's hands after the group was done playing around with it. But there is one major problem with any implication that Troy shot himself. Troy was found upright on his bed, deceased from a gunshot wound to the head, and his handgun was located on the bed next to his body, not in his hand.
And then what?
And then after that, we just kept drinking. The gun was still out.
Where was the gun out in the room?
It was like mainly on the bed on his like right side, like where he had it, and then he'll pull it out time to time. You know, I had it like in his lap, and then we were playing cards. So then like whenever like he would like stand up to grab a beer, we ended up putting it on this side or on his right side.
Okay. So you were playing cards?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happened?
After that, we were just drinking and chilling, still like the same usual stuff, like, you know, drinking, talking, conversations.
At what point is that video made that you posted on your Snap story?
That was...
Was that after you guys got in from outside?
No, that was after whenever Kaden ended up leaving.
It was after Kaden left?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we went out to the kitchen and started playing beer pong. And then like, what was it? I don't know. I don't know what it was, but Ricky was sitting down on a chair, and Troy went up to him, and I was like standing like what, probably like you know like this length, and I don't know if it was the gun or like a phone, and Troy went up like, let me see it. He's like what, you don't trust me? And then he ended up like punching that door where he like headbutted the door. And like he punched it, he's like, you don't trust me? He punched it again. But the second time like it wasn't like hard. And then I don't know what it was. Troy ended up getting it and stuff, and then like Ricky looked at the door because I did. And Troy's like, nigga, that's what you made me do and stuff like that, and I was like, okay.
So you're not sure if they were like kind of in a
No,
about
no.
The phone, a phone or the gun?
Either one of those. I don't know. And then, Then we ended up looking at the hole that he made in the door when he punched
In the
it.
kitchen?
Yeah. And then he ends up saying like, dude, how much do I bet I have about this, you know? And like Ricky was like, you won't. And then he's like, alright, bet. And then that's when I took out my phone and started recording. And then he did it. And then like after that we were just laughing.
And it was just you, Troy, and Ricky.
And Tyler. But he was like on the other side of the table.
Okay. And Caden had already left. So Caden was the first one to leave.
Yeah.
And did he have a car or how did he leave?
He got picked up by his girlfriend.
This, at the very least, is true, all because of a video posted on social media. In it, Troy and David are seen at 4 a.m. alone inside the residence playing beer pong and drinking heavily. This video helped detectives establish that Ricky and Caden had already left, which ultimately means that the only person who could have been responsible for Troy's death is David.
So how long did you stay after Tyler and Ricky left?
After they left, I ended up staying like, I'd say probably like 35 minutes. Because then, like, I ended up taking a shot. And then we were just drinking a couple more beers. And then after that, like, I felt like going home.
And then what? What else did you do today?
After that, I just ended up checking my phone. And then that's when I started hearing about Troy being dead.
Who told you?
Kai, he said, is Troy okay? I was like, why? What is he doing? And then I ended up texting him. And then he said, Kai told me, like, I heard that he's dead.
Who's Kai?
His cousin, I believe, either cousin or uncle, but I'm pretty sure it's cousin. And after that, I started texting him, calling him and stuff. And then freaking, that's when Kathy ended up calling me. And then we were just talking about that back and forth. And then we started getting ready. Whenever Jerry got home, I was already having the kids ready so we could go. And that's when we got there.
And then you and Jerry rode together over to...
Yeah. So we went to go drop off the kids at the auntie house.
Okay. And then you got there. And everyone else was there.
When officers arrived that afternoon, David was still at the scene, and he had a story ready. He told Troy's family and police that everything had been fine when he left that morning. Troy was alive and that he seemed okay. David went home, and that was that. It was a convenient story, which meant that David was not put anywhere near the actual shooting. But detectives had already seen the body. They'd seen the angle of the wound, the position Troy was found in, the way the gun was lying on the bed, and all of it pointed to a murder.
So if you don't mind going back a little bit, what was your relationship with, I guess, from my understanding, you were over there quite frequently, right? And so how would that normally look?
We would either just like hang out and drink.
You drink a lot with them? Would it be safe to say that every time you hang out you'd be drinking, or what?
Yeah, just like the weekends or like some
Drinking
days.
buddy?
Yeah.
Okay. And what would happen on a typical weekend?
On what?
On a typical weekend, how would that happen?
It was just like, I'll like text him, like, hey, like, do you want to drink? He'll say like, yeah, or no, that I got work tomorrow, or like, you know, something, like bring up something, or like, if he got something to do.
Okay. And like, so you go there, we'll just use a Friday night for example. What would that look like? Would you stay there? Would you leave? Would it kind of depend? What?
Usually I like come over, like I like probably like slept there like 2 times. But like,
How long though? Like, were we talking over the 3 years, or?
no, it was just like probably like not last week, but like the week before that.
Okay. Alright. Did you have clothes or anything there? Just kind of what you had on your back is what you slept in? And,
Yeah.
Okay. And why would you stay there?
Either I didn't feel like walking home, or you know, like I just might as well stay here and wake up tomorrow.
How often would you walk home?
Pretty often. Like, if I lived closer, like I would walk every single time. But like, now since I'm farther, it's either like from time to time.
But I gotta tell you, there's something missing,
Like what?
and I'm confused. You know, I guess I'm struggling to understand how this happens, right?
Well, I want to know how it happened.
Have you heard anything?
Like, about, like, other, like, stuff, like what?
I don't know, like, have you heard anything about possibilities, or what are your thoughts? I guess put yourself in my shoes once, right? You are tasked with trying to figure out how this happened, not only for friends, but for the family that's going through this right now.
Yeah.
For Jerry, that's also going through this. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. My mind would have been, like, all over the place thinking that. My thoughts is just... I don't know.
I think you do.
Don't.
You don't have any ideas?
No.
Because I can tell you, I've been doing this for a long time. And Jen has been doing it longer than me. And like I already told you, there's some concerns that there's stuff that doesn't add up. And I don't know what it is, and this is kind of why I'm asking for your help. Because, you know, before you told me you were really struggling with it, and you were sobbing, and this is hard for you to deal with. I get it. But I feel like there's something that you want to tell me, and I don't know what it is. You know, I guess, do you have any doubt that that gunshot residue test is going to show anything?
Like, what do you mean, like, if it's gonna come back positive or something?
Yeah.
No, it's gonna come back negative.
Gunshot residue testing is designed to detect microscopic particles expelled when a firearm is discharged. In theory, if someone fires a gun, residue can settle on their hands or clothing. However, it's important to note that this is not definitive. It can be transferred indirectly, for example, if someone was near a firearm when it was fired, wiped away, or simply failed to register depending on timing and environmental factors.
David, we've kind of had a chance to talk to everyone else who's been interviewed. Everyone else who's at the party has been talked to. There's things that you're saying that are inconsistent, and they've been inconsistent throughout the day. There's things that other people are saying, other people are wondering, because you were the last person there with him. And nobody else is saying that he wanted to hurt himself or anything like that. Where we're at is Troy's family needs the truth. And you are part of his family. He called you his uncle or nephew. You guys were close, okay? And what I believe happened was a tragic accident that you didn't mean to happen. But I know that what happened to Troy didn't happen from anybody else. Nobody broke into the house and did anything like this to him. And I can tell based on the evidence that's there that he didn't do this to himself. So I need you to look deep into your heart and give Troy's family the truth. Because Troy would do that for you. Alright. Shit happens, buddy. We can get through this, alright? And I know you're scared. And I know you're sorry. But I need to hear it from you.
I told you everything I know.
No, you haven't, David. No, you haven't, David. Something bad happened in there. And you didn't mean to do it. I'm sure you didn't. I know you didn't. I can tell you're not a bad guy. But an accident happened. And I need you to tell me about it. You know the truth. Yes, you do. I can see that this is killing you. And you're gonna have to carry this with you. But you can absolve yourself here by getting this off your chest.
There's nothing to get off my chest.
Yeah, there is. can see it in that vein in your neck. I can see it in everything about you, and I can see that you want to tell the truth. But you don't know how. You have to do this for Troy. Troy is a couple drunk kids with a gun, and nobody should have been handling a gun that night. But it's you, and I know that it's when you're there because his cards are still under the bed, man. He's laying there with a bullet wound in his head right here. He didn't do that to himself, David. And it was an accident, I'm sure of it. But that gunshot didn't come from outside, it came from that gun that's sitting right next to him. But it's not in any kind of position that would have been from him. So I know he's not the one that fired that gun.
It wasn't me.
Who else would it be?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Who else was he sitting playing cards with and drinking beer with? Who else's hat is sitting there?
My hat, I left it there because I forgot it.
You see, all these convenient stories you have, David, it's not true. It's so incredibly obvious that it's not true. And then you just decide to leave for no reason because you thought you had to work or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, I get it, you're scared, you gotta come up with a story. But now is the time to tell the truth. And you're not. You are not. 100% without a doubt.
I am.
I don't think you're a monster, but when you sit here and you can lie about your friend's death, that kind of makes me think differently about you.
With this, David is on the verge of breaking, and right now he just needs one more push to tell detectives what happened.
Somebody was in that room, and somebody killed him.
But we need to go and figure out if it was on purpose or if it was an accident. And that's what I believe happened, David. I believe that you and your friend, and it was an accident.
So let me ask you this: where'd that bullet go?
What
That you guys were playing around with the shirt. Where'd it go?
That one, they cleaned it up and then put it back in the clip.
Okay. And the clip go back in the gun?
Yeah.
And then what happened? Anybody rack it? Because you and I both know if you've used a gun before, you rack it and you might not think there's one in there. Shit happens. See it all the time.
I don't know if there was. I don't know. I don't even know if somebody else wrecked it after the clip went in.
But you see that where that could be a problem, right? If that did happen, or even somebody drops the slide on it and the magazine's in there, so if it's open and somebody puts the magazine in there and drops the slide, guess what? You're gonna have a round in the chamber. You think anybody would have known that?
No, I'm pretty sure they would, but I wouldn't.
Well, how would you know?
I wouldn't.
And that's what, do you see what the problem is in that?
Nobody would.
Exactly. I mean, it's not like they send out a big red symbol that, hey, by the way, this gun is loaded. Right? I mean, from what I've heard, you've handled guns enough to know that a symbol doesn't come out saying, hey, by the way, the gun's loaded. Most of the time, you can't even tell, right?
Did you see him?
Huh?
What did his face look like
What do you mean?
when he got hit in the head with?
I don't know. I wasn't there. After I left, he was still alive.
Could you have called for help?
Not for what?
The gunshot in his head?
Wasn't there, like I said.
Yeah, you heard, David.
I wasn't.
Nobody else was there. Nobody else was in there. He was sitting playing cards with you. His cards are still stacked up on his bed. Nothing happened. If you left, why would he still be sitting there fully dressed with beer all around him with a freaking card game going on his bed? That makes zero sense. There's so much of what you
We were
said.
playing a game and then ended up telling him that I'm gonna go ahead and go.
And then what? What happened?
I don't know what he did after that. After I left.
He died. He died before you left.
We've already established he didn't do this himself. I know that 100%.
And I know 100% that it was you. But I don't know if it was an accident or if it was on purpose.
Do you know anything about how he died? So why are all these different inconsistencies happening in your story? When I go back and look at that camera in the corner, you can sure getting picked up by somebody in person.
It should be. Because I got picked up right there.
There's a difference between should be and has.
Yeah.
And there's another one, David. Like, you can't even keep track of your own lives, dude.
What do you
And
mean?
now you're not even, like, what's bothering me now is that you don't even seem upset by this whole situation. Did you do it on purpose?
I'm hurting inside.
Could have fooled me. I haven't seen you shed a tear the whole time you've been here. Maybe you did it on purpose.
I didn't do nothing.
What you saw was so complete. It's got to be etched in your brain, and it will be for the rest of your life. And you got out of there so fast you didn't even bring your hat. And there's people in that house who heard that gunshot. Guess what? I mean, do you want us to have Troy's family come down here so you can tell them? What's going to be the easiest for you? Because you know what happened. That's not even a question. The question is, what's it going to take for you to tell us? You've taken responsibility for your actions in the past, right? Talked about some stuff that happened in Florida. People make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I make mistakes. He makes mistakes. We all do. We all do. And if that's what happened, that's understandable. But we need to hear that from you. We have to hear it.
At the time, David was on extended supervision for a prior offense committed in Florida. The offense was never made public, but one thing is certain. This is not his first time dealing with cops.
You have to tell it. You have to get it off your chest. We can help you. You have to get it off your chest, though.
Talk about what?
What happened?
Can't get it off my chest.
Can't get it out of your head. Let me help you.
Doing what?
I tell you the truth.
I already said it was an accident.
I know, but I need you to explain how. What do you mean?
I don't know.
David. Something that happened really fast. Were you pointing it at him? How were you holding it? Show me.
I don't remember.
And how do you know it's an accident?
I knew it was an accident.
How?
What do you mean, no?
If you don't remember how you were holding it, how do you know it was an accident?
Because nobody wants to shoot a family member.
No, I know.
He said it was an accident.
I know
So
that.
talking about more, that was that ain't gonna help.
Help me understand. So you weren't pointing it at him. Did you not know it was loaded?
I was pointing at him.
Okay. Did you know that it was loaded? Was there one in the chamber?
That's what I'm guessing, because there would have been nothing going on.
We wouldn't be here right now, right? Where was the clip? Was it in the gun? You explaining what happened means all the difference in the world to me. So that we can explain it to Troy's family.
Holding it. And then Troy asked for it. I took out the clip and I handed up just the gun. And then he asked for the clip. So I handed him the clip. And then he ended up handing it back to me. Didn't know it was loaded. I didn't point it at him or anything. I clocked back to see if it was, like a little bit. And I guess that's where I accidentally pulled the trigger.
Was he still holding the clip then, or when he gave it back to you, was it just the gun, or was it the gun with the clip? If you remember. Thank you. You might not feel better right this moment, but I promise you, you will.
Nothing never gets better.
I disagree with that.
You should
whole life.
agree.
You have your whole life ahead of you. You can make something positive out of this, okay? It's not, it doesn't feel like it right this second. I know it. The truth will set you free. It's a big step.
According to David, this is what happened. He and Troy were alone in the bedroom later on in the night, after Ricky and Caden left, both heavily intoxicated. David was handling Troy's semi-automatic handgun and removed the magazine, thinking that made the weapon safe. But a live round was still in the chamber. David pulled the slide back with his left hand to check if there was a bullet chambered and wasn't gripping it properly, just using a couple of fingers, which is when the slide slipped out of his hand, and when it snapped forward, his right finger hit the trigger. Tragically, the bullet struck Troy right above his left eyebrow, killing him.
Did you know he was dead?
Why would you even second guess? There's a bullet. And
I know. Sorry. Did you think to call for help, or were you just scared? So tell me if I have this right. You two were sitting on his bed, playing with the gun. And can you tell me again? He was holding it, and you grabbed it. And we're handing it back and forth.
not over and over, but he didn't tell me if there's one in the chamber or nothing.
But it was when you had the slide kind of pulled back to see if there was one in there.
To see, but I didn't put it all the way back.
Just to check it. Where was your finger near the trigger?
Yeah, usually how y'all just gun until you got fired, you can put it on the trigger. But
Was it this side or this side though? So if you're grabbing the gun, did you have it like this and try to pull it back?
no, I had my hand like on the gun, but like my finger was like on the side right there.
Okay.
And then whenever I kind of clucked it back a little bit to see and check if there's one in there, like my finger slipped.
He's...
Would it help you feel better to talk to his family? Or do you want us to do that?
Honestly, I don't even want them to know. I want them to know, but I don't want them to know.
They deserve to know. What do you think?
It's gonna end up killing me that they're gonna think different about me. I'm not gonna accept me the same way they did.
They're gonna understand that it was an accident. So I'm sorry, but I wanna make sure I have this right. Tell me again, who's holding it first when you guys are sitting there?
At first, it was just on the bed. I grabbed it. I was just holding it. And then he asked for it, so I handed it to him.
When did the clip get taken out?
Whenever I had handed it to him, and then he asked for the clip.
So you ripped the clip out?
I took it out, and then he ended up asking for the clip. And after that, I went to the restroom, came back, and then I ended up grabbing the gun again. He didn't tell me if it was loaded or anything. I don't know if it was clean with it, pocketed or anything. And I ended up checking the same way I did.
So he could have done something in the bathroom, when you were in the bathroom, I mean.
And that's an obvious question.
Unfortunately, in my position, I have to ask.
The way every other answer to it.
I'm also aware that in some circumstances that you may hear it before you realize what happened.
I heard it. I looked up to him and I said, got scared.
Thank you for telling me that. Did he move at all?
So,
Did you run out or did you walk up?
no.
Right away, or?
And then after the gun went off, I looked at him. I just looked.
What did you do with the gun? If you remember.
I left it in the room.
Did you shut the door or anything?
I don't remember.
Did you move anything? So if you're standing by the end of the side of the bed, you just walked out the door, didn't manipulate anything or anything like that, right? You don't have to move anything to get out of the way to get out of the room.
Just walk out.
Is there a safety mechanism on the gun?
On the trigger.
Are you familiar with what kind of gun it is?
No.
Are you familiar with what kind of gun it was? So, I guess the reason why I'm asking though is that, depending on the gun, firearm, there are different safety mechanisms on that. Do you believe it was on the trigger? Do you believe it had a safety mechanism as far as you're aware, or anything?
I don't know. I heard someone saying that it doesn't have the safety. So,
That was discussed when all of you were together?
yeah, but I don't know who said it though.
With this, David's first interview comes to an end as he admits the gun went off while he was handling it, calling it an accident. 2 days later, however, detectives bring him back in. This time they wanted specifics: where he was standing, how he held the gun, exactly how his hand slipped. anything that could help them corroborate the confession they have further.
We've been doing a lot of work since we last talked, and through that work comes some additional questions and clarifications that we would like to get from you if you're willing to do that. So, because it's a different day, I have to read your rights all over again. Before you feel like, correct me if I get anything wrong here, okay, David? Tell me somehow. The gun is taken apart at some point, right? The clip is out of the gun. Do I have that right?
Before I went to the restroom.
Okay. Before you went to the restroom, the clip was out of the gun.
Yeah, that's really good. And then the clip, and I walked up to go to the restroom.
Okay. And you came back from the restroom. And the gun was on the bed. Do I have that right? And where was the clip?
I don't even know at this point.
Okay. So here's the deal, and just to change the subject for a millisecond here, is we've got this issue going on with like rival gang stuff, right? Okay, you guys are ACK, and there's some rival gang out there that's related to some incident that happened with IJ. I don't think you were around for that, but you might have heard about it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so since this has happened, we're starting to get tips that this wasn't an accident, and that this is related somehow to gang activity. So that's why I'm coming to talk to you again. Okay. Nobody, and honestly, David, we got a tip that someone paid you to do this. No. Do you know Cameron?
No.
Okay. So when things like this happen, people jump to conclusions when they don't know the facts. And that's what we're dealing with right now. So we're trying to put all these little pieces together so we can explain to the family exactly what happened and not have these little rumors coming out of nowhere.
I'm telling the truth.
So you weren't fighting, you weren't mad, everything was good. Were you playing music or anything? Or were you just sitting and talking?
Playing beer pong.
Playing beer
I don't know.
Oh.
Like we went back into the room. We were talking and talking. And I don't know. It just.
I know. And I know these details suck and make you have to relive it, and that's not what I want to do, but I also want to be able to explain it as best as I can, so I'm sorry.
I'm going to mirror what Jen said. I mean, I know this is not easy to have a conversation about. But do you know why there would be a round that would be being put back in the magazine?
What do you mean?
So were there any rounds that were taken out of the magazine at any point to be put back in?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
Did you move anything before you left?
Before you left, what? The gun went off, and then what? Did you touch anything? Did you move anything? Did you check anything? What happened?
I just checked Troy.
Did you check for a pulse? What does that mean?
After Troy was shot in the early morning hours, David Anselmo did not call 911, did not seek medical help, or attempt CPR. Instead, he left the residence, leaving Troy on the bed with a fatal gunshot wound to the head.
Can you just explain what you mean by you checked him?
I looked at him. I hold his hand.
You what?
I looked at him and I just like.
Did you touch his head? Did you have any blood on your hands, do you think?
So at that point, and we just kind of held him, did you leave the room then, I take it, after that? Do you recall shutting the door or anything? Just...
It just happened to feel that.
or something? If you don't mind, I guess I'd like some help in understanding the gun. I know prior to when we were talking to the police department, you said that you were checking to see if there was a round in the chamber, right? Okay. Do you know at that point when you were checking if your finger was already on the trigger?
It wasn't on the trigger.
So you put your hand over the rail to pull it back to check and see if there was a bullet in the chamber, right? Did you let the chamber, the rail go forward, and then your finger slipped? Or how did that work?
I was pulling it back, not all the way back, just to check if there's a bullet in there. And then the rail again, whatever you call it, it slipped out of my head. And I guess that's when my freaking fingers slipped to the trigger.
So it was kind of all one thing that happened. That it slipped and then it caused this hand to move or go into the trigger?
I don't know how it happened.
Had you shot that gun before on purpose? No. So when you were pulling the slide back or the rail or whatever you want to call it, did you go like this with your left hand, or was it two fingers?
It was putting it from the way back, so I didn't have perfect grip on it.
And you were doing that with your left hand, and then your right finger was. I think before when we talked, you said it was straight next to the trigger, and then it slipped forward. It kind of went forward, and then makes this motion. That makes sense. Okay.
And then, in our interview also, before you said that you were holding it like we do.
Yeah, outside the freaking. Yeah.
Do you recall where, in relation to your body, that the gun was? So by your hip, it's in front of your chest, it's in front of your head.
It was kind of close to upper body, close wise. I don't know.
So do you think that you were looking over the top of it, or did you turn it at all to see the chamber or the port, or do you recall?
I don't recall.
But you are certain that it was kind of mid.
Right around here, not extended out. And I'll pass that along when I have a meeting with them, okay? When we all kind of sit down and talk about things.
Is there anything we can do for you right now?
David Anselmo was initially charged with first-degree reckless homicide and operating a firearm while intoxicated in connection with Troy Wilcox's death in June 2019. In February of 2022, he accepted a plea agreement, pleading guilty to a reduced charge of homicide by intoxicated use of a weapon. In July of 2022, he was sentenced to 8 years of initial confinement, followed by 10 years of extended supervision. As part of that supervision, he must maintain absolute sobriety and have no contact with the victim's family. Thank you for watching today's video. Whether you're new here or have been with us for a while, check out one of the craziest cases I've ever covered right here, or one of my newest uploads right here.